Hi, hello, good morning. I thought we could do a get ready with me and have some good old-fashioned makeup fun using a ton of cream products. I had to turn on a bunch of my artificial lighting because it is very dark and rainy outside, unfortunately. So even though it is the midst of summer, today is a really horrible day to use natural lighting. So unfortunately, we will have to do with my artificial lighting. Hopefully you don't mind. I'm going to start doing my makeup, and the first thing I'm going to grab is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. So I thought it might be fun to chat a little bit about Pat McGrath Labs. Where is Mothership 13? Where is it? Why are they not giving it to us? The short answer is, I don't really know, guys. I know as much as you do. I have no, further insights into the brand other than what I can guess from what is going on. So we have finally seen now the teasers for the two quads that have been floating around the internet for already over a month. So they're finally going to be released. Clearly, instead of a Mothership, we're getting these quads because this is usually the timing of announcing and releasing a Mothership palette. So instead they're choosing those quads in bloom, and we are not really getting a Mothership yet, unless they decide to do like a surprise drop and announce it like last minute to surprise us. I'm not really seeing a Mothership so far. I'm going to spice it up a bit and use my Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation today. This is in the shade 3 and 1. I've been using a lot of my mix of Hourglass and MAC, but every now and then I do start to miss my good old Estee Lauder Double Wear, so that's what I'm going to wear today. And since Pat really doesn't seem to be all too involved with the brand, I'm not overly surprised that everything is different, and there have been so many changes, and the releases this year have honestly been rather underwhelming, to say the least, and rather sparse. Nothing really major has been released this year so far. The Valentine's collection, in my personal opinion, must have been a flop because I don't know a single person who bought it. And I haven't seen a single person on the internet review it. Now that might also be because I follow very few people on the YouTubes, and neither of them thought this release was even worth a second look. We got an extension of the cream blushes. Fine, fun, whatever. And that's it. We haven't really gotten any like fun, new, exciting release. Like, think of the previous years when we had the blushes, the powder blushes, the cream blushes, the powder bronzers. There's been something exciting in the spring months. Nothing. Radio silence this whole year so far. Anyway, so this all leads me to believe even more that Pat has really left the chat. Which, fine, but apparently whoever has taken over doesn't seem to know exactly what they're doing, and they're giving us really underwhelming releases. For my concealer today, I'm going to do one of my favorite combos. This is the First Aid Beauty Bendy Avocado Concealer in the shade Fair, and my beloved Skin Correct in the shade 1. I'm just going to mix the two underneath my eyes. So we're getting these quads. I don't know whether anything more is coming besides the quads. I would be highly shocked. I think it's just the two quads, to be honest. At least based on also the little teaser reel they released yesterday, no, the day before. It seems like it will just be those quads. And one can only, fantasize and hope that they've decided to postpone the Mothership release for two reasons. One, to work on improving, or not improving, but like rediscovering their roots and giving us back the formulas and textures that we like, aka the baked shades. And that they are thinking, oh, well, after 3 years of summer releases of pink palettes, or versions of pink palettes, perhaps we should do something different. Let's release a fall-winter Mothership with some interesting neutral, cool browns in it. A girl can dream, and like an interesting pop of color, like some greens, murky greens, Like I said, a girl can dream and fantasize. But that's really my only guess thus far, that the reason we haven't seen a Mothership yet is because they've decided to switch things up a little bit and move the timing of the release to a different, space in time, to allow them the possibility to do a somewhat different color story. Because since 2020 we've been getting Motherships in the summer months. Actually, maybe even before that. Mothership 6 Midnight Sun was also released. Yeah, it was released in the end of summer towards the beginning of fall, so it was really more of like a fall palette to me. But I wouldn't be surprised, or I would hope that they've just decided to do something different and give us Mothership 13 towards the actual like fall and winter months. Maybe even make it a part of the holiday release, but without it being a limited edition. I don't know, this is all sheer speculation. I'm going to quickly do my brows with the Too Faced Laminating Brow Wax, and then we can apply a bit of cream products on my complexion, and I can show you the new trick that I've been testing out with my complexion or like face cream products. What do you guys think? I know a lot of you are hoping for a Mothership. No one's really looking forward to those cardboard quads. They look like they might have some fun pops of shades, because one of the quads at least, we've already seen snapshots of that in a reel with Doja Cat, I want to say, and there seemed to be a matte light green blue type of shade and a metallic shade in that range, like that color range. There's also like the obligatory plummy purple, which is one of the reasons I don't think we're going to get anything exciting. I don't think we're going to get baked shades in that specific cardboard format. Yes, the Bridgerton palettes were in cardboard, but if you look at the cardboard boxes of these quads, they're quite thin. And the cardboard boxes of the Bridgerton releases have like a good thick bottom to them, which allows to have the baked formula in there. With the size of that cardboard box that we've been seeing for these new quads, I don't think there's anything baked in there. I think you should be happy to get decent enough matte and metallics. And you know, she can do matte and metallics, although lately I've not been a huge fan of her metallics either, if I'm being completely honest. That Passion Fluor quad from last year, while I like the shades, especially the taupe shade that's in that quad, I don't like the formula so much. I far prefer and I dearly miss her metallic formula from the Decadence palette. Let me grab my cream products. Okay. Let's dig back into the Mario bronzer. So this has a really long name. I'm never going to be able to remember this. The Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in the shade Light Medium, which I'm going to apply with my new beloved Jumbo Base from Sonia G. And then I can show you the little trick that I've been doing to extend the longevity of my cream products, because I think it's been working. So I'm going to just pick up a little bit of this bronzer, and I'm going to do my best not to be too heavy-handed, because after a pass of this on my face, I'm actually going to apply a little bit of powder to set that first layer, and then I'm going to go back for a second layer. That's why I'm going to try to be a little bit less heavy-handed, because I also don't want too much product on my face. So if you're building layers, you don't want the layers to be too thick, because things can get out of hand if you build very thick layers. So I'm going to apply a little bit of the bronzer. Then I'm going to take the Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil in the shade Barely Blushing. So this is basically in the same formula, but it's a blush, and this is the shade Barely Blushing, which is a gorgeous, like, neutral rosy shade. Again, thin layer. And you can see these look so beautiful and juicy and dewy on the skin without looking greasy. I don't find them looking greasy. I think they just have a beautiful luminosity to them. I've really been enjoying them, by the way, just in case you were curious how I've been enjoying them so far. I've really been enjoying them. And I'm going to stop at this sort of like thin layer, or at least I imagine this to be a thin layer of product. And now I'm going to take my setting powder. And by the way, I wanted to thank all of you who commented on my previous video and informed me that the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder by Charlotte Tilbury is now in fact offered as refills. That said, I think the packaging that I have here, it's an older one, and it doesn't really have the little like pokey thing to be able to pry it out, which is not to say that I can't unglue the pan of this and stick something in there, like I can make it magnetized or I can super glue it. I can DIY something for sure. But I'm really glad to hear that there are refills, because you know, I've been plotting to actually put the pan of this in my Gucci outer packaging, because I love the Gucci one and I would really like to like visually experience it more often. Anyway, while I'm rambling, I'm just going to take a little bit of my powder here. Getting a little bit difficult because of the size of the pan. And then I'm basically going to do what I usually do, which is like set my face. So T-zone, cheek area. I don't go underneath my eyes because my under eyes are incapable of taking any amount of powder. Of course, my forehead. And then I'm just going to slightly swirl. And after I have applied this initial layer of the cream product and the powder, I am going to go back into the cream products now. First the bronzer, and I'm going to repeat what I did before. I'm just going to take a thin layer of this to apply over here again. And there are different strategies to use cream products like this if you are a little bit afraid that you can't get the longevity out of them because of the type of formula. This is a very emollient dewy type of formula, and you're not going to get super long wear time out of it. And you could set it with just a powder bronzer. I know a lot of people who just go on and apply a powder bronzer over top of the cream to set it. My take on this is, when I purchase a certain product, I purchase it not only for the formula but also for the color, and I just want to enjoy it to the maximum. 100% when I've bought this specific bronzer or this specific blush, I want to be able to see and enjoy the individual products. I don't want them to get lost underneath something else. So that is why I decided to try this strategy instead of setting with a powder blush or a bronzer. That's not to say there's anything wrong with setting with a powder blush or bronzer. If you have somewhat matching colors, perfect, just go for that. But I have a very like stubborn take on this, where I think I want to use this product, I don't want to set it with anything else. Every now and then I will also just set with a different product, just, you know, for shits and giggles. But most of the time I will just prefer to use the product that I've purchased for the reason that I purchased it, to use as a bronzer. So I feel like this has really helped and extended the wear time of my cream blushes and bronzers. I already was getting a relatively decent amount of wear. By the way, I'm going to take the blush now and repeat the same. I was already getting a relatively decent amount of wear out of these, considering how emollient they are. But I feel like this trick has really like helped the product to stay on my cheeks for a more significant amount of time. Yesterday I did this trick with the cream blush formula from Pat McGrath Labs, and if it wasn't for Nicola, who really likes to touch my face in the evening, he thinks it's really funny, the blush would have stayed on until I took it off, basically. Yes, it has faded a little bit. They fade more than a powder blush, especially like a powder blush like the Pat McGrath Labs formula, which basically never leaves your face unless you rub it out. But I think for a cream blush, that stayed on yesterday really well. I was so happy and pleased with the result. I have the feeling that when I looked at myself in the mirror yesterday after like 8 to 10 hours of wear, more like 10 hours of wear, I had the feeling that like my cheeks still looked quite vibrant and there was very little fading. But just to quickly go back to the Charlotte Tilbury powder, because what I'm planning to do now is, as soon as I finish this powder, I'm going to pry out the pan and I'm going to see whether it actually fits in the Gucci powder. I feel like they're the same size, so I think it should work. But before I go on and purchase a refill with the idea of using it with my Gucci powder, I will have to test whether that pan actually fits in the powder. To highlight, I'm going to use my beloved Dior Forever Glow maximizers. As usual, going to mix the shades Gold and Peachy. And again, so far I've always shown you how I wear these products, but apply these products with a sponge. So far I've been using my Real Technique sponge to apply them, but in fact I've started to use the Jumbo Base from Sonia G also for this, and I've actually really been enjoying it for that too. I feel like the sponge almost leaves a slightly more metallic finish, whereas the dense bristles of the brush really work this highlighter into the skin to the point where it starts to look as if you have a natural highlight on. Like you can't really see or detect any sort of product. So I've really been enjoying my little Jumbo Base brush. So I will just take the brush now and I will use this part here, the little like slanted portion of the brush, which is a bit more sparse almost, and I'm going to work the product on my cheekbones like that. Even though it's a big brush, if you use it strategically, just like tilt it in a specific way, I feel like you can really get away with using such a huge brush even to apply product on a smaller portion, like a smaller perimeter of your face, excuse me, apparently I can't talk, such as your cheekbones. And I think this really tones down the metallic finish of these highlighters, or like the slightly more metallic sheen you might get if you pile more product on and you use something like a sponge. I really feel like the dense bristles of this brush help also with how natural the highlighter melts onto your skin. To finish my base, I'm going to set with Fix Plus by MAC. So to recap, no Mothership 13 yet, we're getting those quads. I'm not mega excited, I don't know if I'm going to buy them, just because, I don't know, like I said, I haven't been the absolute hugest fan of her metallic formula, like her regular metallics, and I'm just not sure that these quads are going to really appeal to me, but we will see. I feel like I would be more excited if they were in her Quint formula, because I actually really like the Quint formula, both in terms of the mattes as well as the metallics. Her regular formula just doesn't excite me as much anymore, and I'm certainly not willing to pay the price for a black lacquer packaging quad for that cardboard crap, because the nerve with the Valentine's Day collection was that they were basically asking the same price for that cardboard abomination as they would for one of her Lux quads in a black lacquer packaging, which to me like really crossed so many lines. I've zoomed you in a little bit so we can start on the eye look. As I was doing my makeup collection series, I felt really guilty for once again not having used my Auric, what are these called? Smoke Reflects. So I thought, let's pull out the shade Ego, because it is such a beautiful shade to do a look centered around it. Another product in a creamy formula that I haven't actually used. I don't think I've ever used this. This is the Pat McGrath Labs Black Smudge Liner Eye Kohl. So this is a thick, one of those like thick pencil things, just like an eyeshadow stick, but in the color black. I've literally never used this. I think you can see, based on the shape and how well preserved the shape is, that I've probably swatched this, or maybe not even, but I've never actually used it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the black eyeshadow kohl pencil thing from Pat, and I'm going to just apply a little bit of that here in the base of my lashes. The idea is that this is just going to give, you know, I'm going to do one eye at a time. This is just going to give like definition at the lash line, and it's going to be covered by the eyeshadow from the Smoke Reflect from Auric. I'm just using a little smudger brush here, a synthetic one. This one is from Spectrum Collections, to just blend this out slightly. Oh, that looks really nice. I'm going to repeat the same process on my other eye. I don't really like use black liner and black, yeah, anything really for my eye looks lately. I prefer dark brown just because it looks a bit softer. But this does actually look really beautiful and smoky and sultry. I'm enjoying it. But damn, this is black. This is really dark, like proper dark black. Pretty, I like it. I'm not going to worry too much about blending it out a lot, because I am going to cover that with the cream eyeshadow portion of the little pot here. So this was the shade Ego, as I mentioned. The pot part of this eyeshadow is just like a gunmetal gray color, and I'm going to take this on my jumbo blender. Yes, this is the jumbo blender, so a thick fluffy brush from Sonia G, and I'm going to go into the eyeshadow just like this. Still very, very creamy, and I'm going to apply that on my lids and blend it out through the crease. And as you can see, I'm basically covering up the black liner, so you're not really going to see much of that. It's just going to remain as like a little shadow that gives definition to the lash line without really appearing as if you're wearing liner. I really like this effect. And then I'm going to flip the brush like this, and I'm going to take it through my crease to blend out that cream eyeshadow. I also quickly looked at the comments underneath the new reel to see what people were saying, and I think half the comments were basically, to summarize, where is our mothership? Give us the mothership. But no word so far. What do you guys think? Do you concur with my theory that we might be getting a fall winter mothership with somewhat cooler tones in it, or something a little bit more autumnal? You know, just a different color story, just spicing it up a bit, because we've like beaten that summer palette horse to death now. Between Divine Rose 2, Utopian Dream, well, Moonlit Seduction wasn't really a summer palette, so that's the exception one there. And the latest one, Sunlit Seduction, I feel like we've had enough summer color stories and we are in need of something new and something different. I'm going to use the little smudger brush that I used for the black kohl pencil to apply a little bit of the cream portion of Ego on my lower lashes. And then we can go into the topper shade from this pot, which is, I think, really the star of the show. The gunmetal-y cream eyeshadow doesn't blow my socks off, doesn't rock my world, it's nothing special, but the combination, just like the color of the topper from this duo and the way it plays together with the gunmetal, is absolutely beautiful. Let's take a look at that topper shade. Look how pretty that is. That is a beautiful, unique tone. So I'm going to just apply this on my finger and then press it onto the lid. And because of that cream eyeshadow base, which has a little bit of tech to it, this topper sticks really beautifully and the two create a gorgeous effect on the lid. A color that is difficult to describe because it's not really a gunmetal, it's not really a green, it sits somewhere in between and it's just so dimensional and pretty. And I don't know why I'm not using this more often, because it also really flatters brown eyes. We are charging the batteries of the cat door, so someone was stuck outside and couldn't get in. I had to go open the door for her. Hey beauty. Oh, you going? Okay. And now I have half a Mona on top of me, which is great. Bring your cat to work day. And like I said, you can't really see the black eyeshadow anymore that I smudged in the lower lashes, but you can see the sort of like the effect of it, because it does create a little bit more darkness and definition in the lashes. For this next step, I'm going to grab another eyeshadow stick. This one is one of my Kiko long-lasting eyeshadow sticks, and this is just in a cream color, honestly. And I use this for several different purposes, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to apply actually a little bit of this here in my inner corners, and I will explain why. Then I'm going to lightly smudge it using my fingers. So the reason I'm using this, my right eye in particular has been an absolute bitch the last couple of weeks, and she waters like nobody's business. Like, I put on makeup and by the time I'm at work, half of the inner corner, or like most of it, is gone, and I'm really hoping that this is going to just extend the wear time of my inner corner, because for my inner corner I'm going to use another product that we spoke about in my makeup collection video that's a bit forgotten. Is this really old highlighter. Actually, theoretically it's a highlighter. I use it as an eyeshadow from Notoriously Morbid in the shade Snow Ghost, and that's going to go in my inner corners, and it just creates the most beautiful ethereal effect. It has a green base but a very strong like bluish kind of sheen, and I think the two together just make an absolutely beautiful combo. Never would I have thought of putting these two together unless I had seen them like sort of side by side in that makeup collection video. So the makeup collection video was not just interesting and inspirational for you, it was interesting and inspirational for me as well. And then in my waterline I'm going to take another oldie but goodie. This is the Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Rocky Mountain Green from NYX, and I'm going to apply that in my waterline here. And I am actually going to set that Jumbo Eye Pencil from NYX with a little bit more from the powder here from the Snow Ghost highlighter. I just find that applying a little bit of powder over top of whatever pencil I'm using in my waterline really extends the life of that waterline color. And by the way, for your viewing pleasure, Lisa has also migrated so that you can see her Royal Majesty as well. I'm pretty sure her sister's probably snoozing on Nicola's bed by now. Anyway, on my lips I am wearing one of my favorite new combinations of lipsticks. I'm wearing a Velvet Affair from Lisa Eldridge together with a layer of Kitten Mischief, so the Lucent from Lisa Eldridge. So this is a velvet, this is a Lucent, and I think they just make such a perfect combo. We didn't even get to talk about Lisa Eldridge having the nerve to discontinue a bunch of things without consulting us. I feel personally offended that she's discontinuing Velvet Decade. I could like live with a lot of the other discontinued colors, but Velvet Decade just hit me like right here in the heart, and I am really sad about it. I think a lot of you may not even know about it. I want to say she sent the email to the Emerald tier last week, and it featured a 30% off together with the announcement that she's phasing out a bunch of products to bring new ones in. And most noticeably, I had the impression she's discontinuing a lot of her like vampy velvets and like vampier kind of colors, which leads me to believe that maybe they're not really selling very well, which makes me sad. But based on how many people commented that they were heartbroken that Decade is being discontinued, I'm guessing Decade is not one of those shades that sells poorly. But anyway, I was not able to get a backup because unfortunately it sold out before I could make up my mind. I did get a backup of Decade, the liner, but not the lipstick. Now thankfully Velvet Decade is the kind of color that's going to take you many years to go through, so let's hope that in the meantime a worthy dupe appears, because as of now I can tell you for a fact no one has made a shade quite like Velvet Decade. Anyway, I went on a bit of an unnecessary rant there, excuse me. Please let me know what you thought about this look. I am really enjoying how the final look turned out. I love the cream products. I think they're going to stay really well. I love the eyes. I love the lips. I hope that I'm going to remember to use this spot from Auric a little bit more often because it is so gorgeous. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this look. I hope you enjoyed this video. As usual, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!